Hi everybody, it's Christy back with another video, and today I'm doing something a little different on the channel, showing you my face, and I'm going to go through a 2022 bang for your buck holiday gift guide. So, as an art hobbyist for many years now, I've collected a whole lot of different art supplies, especially watercolor supplies. And I just wanted to go through and talk to you about which ones I think are the best value for your money, especially if you're going to try to give somebody a nice gift over the holidays. So a couple of things before we get started. Thing one, use what you have. Please do not watch this video and feel the need to go out and buy something new. If you're looking for something new, you might find it here. Otherwise, please use what you have. I'm never advocating that somebody should spend money they don't have on supplies they don't want. Second of all of the links in the description below are affiliate links if they are for Amazon. I will say that there too, but I just like to be transparent about that. I get a tiny little bit of money if you click that link and buy something, if you're going to buy it, and it helps my channel out a lot. It helps me to be able to do more kind of fun and cool videos for you guys, so just wanted to put that out there. And number three, I am, as I said, an art hobbyist, so all of my supplies are going to be geared towards people who are not necessarily professional artists. If you have a professional artist in your life, or if you are a professional artist, this might not be the gift guide for you, but there are going to be a couple of things on here that I think anybody who's really into art might not have and might really like. So stay tuned. When we kind of get to those things, I'll talk about them. But this is going to be a great gift guide for anybody who is looking to buy a gift for somebody who is just new into art or trying to get them into art, or if you are just, you know, you have a friend who is a watercolorist and you want to try to get them something nice. I think that would really work. Or if you have like a teenager that you know is kind of just really diving in to the art hobby, this is all stuff that they would really like. So I'm going to go ahead and timestamp the different sections of the video. So I'm going to start with watercolor palettes and kind of move from there. Stay tuned for the end, because at the end I am going to put together the ultimate $50 gift. If you're just looking to spend about 50 bucks on somebody, how would you do it and what would you get? So here we go. All right, so let's talk watercolor palettes. So there are many watercolor palettes out there on the market. There's so many. But I'm going to focus on 4 watercolor palettes that I think are great values and I think are all pretty different from each other, so depending on what you're looking for. I'm going to start with this guy right here, which is the Meliong Pretty Excellent watercolor set. It is without a doubt the best value for what you get. This one is pretty old. I'm going to open it up and show you. It's obviously very well loved. You can see. There are 36 colors in my set, and I have the old school set that had this like plastic insert. It doesn't want to come out like this. See, so they're all encased in here. It's not individual half pans. But looking at the description on Amazon, I do believe that this one now comes with traditional half pans, which is even better. It runs about $20. Again, Amazon prices fluctuate all the time, so don't quote me on any of these prices. I'm just going to give you a ballpark, but it's a ballpark $20 palette. There is a version of this that's got a row of metallic paints at the bottom, and that one is a little bit more, but I know a lot of people really like that. I just didn't have it. They didn't have it when I ended up buying this one. So this is the first guy that I recommend. My daughter uses this all the time. She's 9. I use it all the time. Card makers can use this because it's a really good palette for having a lot of colors you don't have to mix, but you can mix these colors. They mix beautifully. It's transparent watercolor. I would say it's not artist grade, but I would say it is definitely between artist and student grade. It's nicer than most student grade paints I've worked with. A lot of people are going to recommend Winsor & Newton's Cotman line, and I do really like Cotman paints. I think they're available and they're out there, but if I'm being honest with you, this is the palette that I reach for that is about Cotman quality, and that is the De La Rowney Aquafine palette. You'll see how well loved this one is too. So this one has 24 colors. I really love this palette setup, and it's plastic, it's transportable, it's so thin. Look how nice and thin it is. And so it goes everywhere with me. I absolutely love this palette. I actually have the 48 set, which is much bigger. This actual palette runs between $25 and $32, so it might not be under $30. It's the only thing on my list that's like sometimes not under $30. I know Blick offers it a little bit cheaper, but there are other Daler Rowney Aquafine palettes out there that are under $30 that are nice as well. I just really like the design of this palette, but the paint, the Daler Rowney Aquafine paint is among my favorite student grade paints out there. I can't recommend it enough, and I think that there's a lot of other people that'll probably recommend Cotman in this place, but I really like these guys, and I really like this palette. So again, transparent paints, good mixability. As you can see, I mix it all the time, but a good variety of colors. So again, somebody who is new to mixing will be able to use it, but somebody who loves to mix will also enjoy it. And that's that. Excuse me. All right, the next two sets, I don't have either of the ones that I'm going to talk about. The first one is going to be the Rosa watercolor set. And this is my Rosa Gallery watercolor set. This is not the one I'm recommending. I am recommending a different one. The one I'm recommending is a 24 set on Amazon. It doesn't come with a nice palette like this. It's right under $30, but this is artist grade quality paint. I think for your money, Rosa is the best option that you're going to have for quality. You get full pans of paint, and their Ukrainian paints are amazing. I absolutely love my Rosa paints. The 24 set that I have linked below on Amazon, it has no palette with it. That's the only thing, but I'm going to show you later on how you can make a $30 nice gift out of that with a dollar store hack. So you can buy something that you can mix the paint on that will go right well with that palette. But I will go ahead and I'm going to put a picture of it, maybe there, so that you can see what the actual palette that I'm recommending looks like. The other palette that I'm going to recommend to you is the Derwent Inktense paint pan set. Now, this paint pan set, there are 3 versions of it. There are 2 12 sets, and then there's the full set, which is the 24. The 24 is the one that I have. I love this set. If you are somebody who is buying for an artist that's a little bit more seasoned, this is a gift I might buy them. I doubt that most artists have this paint pan set. It is ink. It is not watercolor, so it's a little bit different. I love these paints. I have so much fun with them. If you're somebody that paints cards, again, these are great because they don't bleed because they're ink. But they work a lot like watercolor, and they're a lot of fun. The 12 sets are about $25 a piece on Amazon, and you can kind of look at the colors and decide which set that you would like to get, but this is a really nice quality product for anybody who really likes paints and maybe has a lot of watercolors and you're looking for something a little bit different. So that's what I would recommend in the watercolor section. All right, the next thing I'm going to talk about is brushes. So there are 2 schools of thought with brushes. You either want to get something that is a synthetic squirrel or sable hairbrush, or you want to get something that is an actual like hard synthetic, like a white synthetic or a golden Taklon. Some beginners prefer the snappiness of a completely true like synthetic brush, but those are often used a little bit more for like gouache or acrylics. Somebody who is a watercolor artist usually wants something a little bit softer, but I use both. It just depends on the application, and I definitely, when I was starting, really liked the harder brushes a little bit better. So I have 2 different recommendations here. My recommendation for a synthetic brush that is like a white synthetic that's harder is Princeton Snap. Emma LaFave recommended these to me when I started watercoloring years ago and was looking for a supply list, and this is what I started with. I loved these. I think they work so nicely. This particular set on Amazon is about $10. And then if you're looking, the only thing I would add to this, because it's like, it's got a round 6, 2, and 0, I believe is what comes in here. And then it's got this big 3/4 inch shader brush. I would want either a round 10 or 12 to add to that. And on Amazon, that's going to be another like $5. So that's for these. Or you could just get this set and then they can decide what they want. But this is still a really nice set of brushes to start with. But if you want something that's a little bit softer and a little bit more of a traditional watercolor brush, I think the series that you can't go wrong with, that is the best value for your money, is the Royal & Langnickel Menta series. I love these brushes. I use them all the time. I had to go find my packaging and stick them back in it. But there are 2 varieties of these. I have both of them because I like them so much. This is the Wash one on Amazon, and this one is called the Stroke variety. They're both pretty good. I prefer the Wash variety, and both of these run about $10 to $11 on Amazon. So if you're looking for good brushes, the thing I like about these the best is that not only, I'm going to pull one out so you can see it, not only are these really nice soft bristles and they have a nice variety, they also have these nice ridges on the bottom. It's got this really nice thing, so it's a scraper. So if you're using scraping techniques or anything like that, you can use this to do it, and I think that's a really nice double versatile tool. And Royal & Langnickel produces wonderful products for art supplies in general. So this would be my recommendation for a nice set of synthetic squirrel brushes. And like I said, they're both about 10 bucks. So if you really wanted to go crazy and buy both sets, that's still only about a $20 investment for 10 really quality paintbrushes for somebody. The next thing I'm going to talk about is paper or surfaces to work on. Paper is one of the most difficult things to talk about, I think, because there are so many different schools of thought on paper. My general thinking is if you're going to have 100% cotton paper, get as good as you can get. So if you're just looking for paper and a paper block to work on, you're going to want something that is 100% cotton cold press for watercolor applications. If you are looking for something for mixed media, you want a good mixed media paper. You don't want a cellulose watercolor paper. So I'm going to recommend sketchbooks today because I think if you're giving a gift that's for a hobby or somebody's going to start working, I think the best place to start is a sketchbook because it doesn't give you that scary feeling of like a single sheet of paper that you have to make perfect. It's a sketchbook. You can mess it up. You can tape different sections of it off and work. There are two sketchbooks that I like to recommend. One of them is a mixed media sketchbook, and one of them is a traditional watercolor sketchbook. So the traditional watercolor sketchbooks that I'm going to recommend to you are the Etcher Cold Pressed Mixed Media series. This is an A5. Oops, it's upside down. This is my A5 one. This is an A6 one. This one's a little bit less expensive. This one will run you $30. This one comes in right at $30 on Amazon. You can get a pack of them that's 3 sizes for a little bit cheaper on Etcher's website. I think you can get those on Amazon as well. They do offer this in hot and cold press. I've never used the hot press, so I can't speak to it. But the cold press mixed media paper in these sketchbooks is amazing. I cannot say enough how amazing this is. It is thinner than you would expect, but it is able to be worked double-sided. So like you can actually work double-sided in this sketchbook, no problem. And that's the best thing about it for me is that the value is there because you are able to use both sides of the paper. It holds water like a dream. It will do anything and any technique that somebody throws at you. You can do it for watercolor in this sketchbook. It took me about 1.5 years to get through mine. And I watercolor pretty frequently. So I would argue that this is a great value for somebody who is starting. Again, this one's just a little bit smaller, but if you're on a tighter budget, this would still work. If you're looking for a good mixed media sketchbook, I cannot recommend the best one I can recommend is the Stillman & Birn Beta series. Now, they do have a hot pressed version of this as well. Again, I'm not a hot pressed version worker, but I do a lot in here with illustration, and I do a lot in here with colored pencil, and I have no problem whatsoever. So I find that their cold pressed version, which is the Beta series, works well. This is the soft cover version. They also have ones that are wire. I have both, but this is a great sketchbook. I'm going to show you some different things. So this I did in colored pencil in here, and you can see how nice the colored pencil took. There was, I think, maybe a little bit of alcohol marker in there too. It takes all of the surfaces, but if you're looking for an example of how nicely it watercolors, like here is a really nice piece with metallic watercolors. That other one on that page had some gouache on it. Here is an example of a watercolor piece I did in this book, and then a colored pencil piece I did on the other side. So I love this book. It doesn't feel too precious to use, which I think is really important, and it was just a great value. So this guy will run you about $18. So this is a much more affordable option, and I still think for a watercolor artist, you're going to get a lot of good use out of them. Lindsay the Frugal Crafter loves these too. She uses them all the time, and Emma LaFave uses the other ones. So if you're looking for recommendations from people who know more than me, there you go. I got both of those recommendations. They came to me, and I have been using these for a long time. So that's what I would get if you're talking about a sketchbook. If you want to know what I think about different watercolor papers, ask in the comments, because there's too many for me to try to make that a definitive thing here. But like I said, if you're looking for somebody and you're wanting to get them something nice, cold press 100% cotton. Less of that is better than more of something else. So the next thing I'm going to recommend to you is going to be watercolor pencils. I have 3 sets. I had 2, and then last week I got a new set of watercolor pencils that I love, so I'm adding them. The first set is a set that I've talked about on the channel before, and that is the Arteza Woodless Watercolor Pencils. Here is my set. I keep them in a Niji roll because they go in my travel bag. They are just a great option for when you're on the go and you're looking to just add a little piece of something somewhere. They're pure pigment in a stick. They color down beautifully. They're not the most pigmented pencils in the world, but for the price, which is around, right now it's around $22. I think I got them on sale for about 17 bucks. And of course, Black Friday is coming, so you might be able to get them on sale. But they are definitely worth your money. I really, really love these and use them a lot. The next thing I'm going to recommend is a little bit more of an artisty supply, and that is the Derwent Inktense pencils. My set of 36 is not under $30, so I'm showing you my set because that's the set that I use. I love these pencils. Let me open it and grab you one to show you. But the set of 12 is under $30. So here is an example of an Inktense pencil. They have a little bit of a nicer core, and again, they're ink, so once you color and you wash it down, it's going to stay put where it is. If you are getting the Inktense pan paints, might be nice to also get somebody the set of 12 Inktense pencils. And it is probably something that not every artist would have. The 12 set is about $17 on Amazon, and so they would definitely be a great addition to anyone's, you know, especially if somebody is like a plein air painter who does line and wash. I think the Inktense pencils are such a nice addition to that. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is actually the Faber-Castell Gold Favor Aqua Pencils. I just got these in a Muse kit, and I cannot say enough nice things about them. They are so nice. They are not as nice as the Albrecht Dürer pencils, but those are artist quality, and they are insanely expensive for good reason. They are worth it. I have a couple, and I love them, and I have the Magnus set, and I love it. But this is really a really good quality watercolor pencil. I was surprised at how well they performed. I think that the main difference between them and the Albrecht Dürer so far is pigmentation, and that's to be expected when you go to the student grade of a line. But I have been impressed with everything Gold Favor every time I've used it. So these are about 17 bucks on Amazon, and I would say that they're definitely worth it if you're trying to, you know, get somebody a nice little supply. And again, I think watercolor pencils are especially useful for people that watercolor on the go because it adds a whole nother level to their watercolor repertoire that is portable and easy to use when you kind of are, you know, sitting in maybe a precarious place. So those are my recommendations for watercolor pencils, and we still have a couple more categories to go. My next recommendation is going to be for watercolor brush markers. I don't use this supply a ton, and for the most part, I really, really like my Caron Brush Marker Pros, but there are 2 really nice varieties of watercolor brush pens out there that I think would be a good bang for your buck. The first one, and one that I do use, is the Arteza brush markers. These guys have an actual tip that reminds me of a paintbrush, so it's real bristles. I'm trying to show you there. Yep, so you can see that. And they run you about $1 a marker. These ones I have are a set of 24. I believe there is also a set of 12. And they wet down really nicely, and they are definitely an addition that I use whenever I get out my brush markers. I should get them out more, but I don't get them out as much as I want to. The second set that I'm going to talk to you about is a set that we came across in the Sketchbox Young Artist box. So Sketchbox did a Young Artist grab bag, and we got it for my daughter, and she got this set of Marabou Aqua Pen graphics pens. And I like Marabou as a company. I especially like what their aqua inks do. So it was really cool for me to get to try these aqua pens. They wet down just beautifully, better than a lot of other expensive markers that I have. And so I definitely think they are worth their money. They are running right now about $20 for this set on Amazon. And so I don't recommend everything Marabou has. I don't recommend anything every company has. But their watercolor inks are something that I really think they do right. And so the aqua pens are an extension of that. And I really think that they are good stuff. So you might want to look these up if you're looking for a nice set of watercolor brush markers. Okay, so now I want to talk about metallic watercolors. Obviously, nobody needs metallic watercolors, but they are a really nice addition to an art studio if it's something that you are looking to, give somebody a nice sparkly gift for Christmas. If you are buying a watercolor set and you're adding on a metallic watercolor set, I would say the best way for you to do that is just to get the Pretty Excellent set of watercolors that include the metallics. I will link a picture of that right here. So right there, and I will link that set below when I talk about the metallic watercolors. If you are just looking to get metallic watercolors for somebody, I have a couple different ideas of ways you could add that. So first of all, we have the Viviva color sheets. They have a metallic set. I don't recommend Viviva for everything, but this metallic watercolor sheet and I go everywhere together, and I seem to pull it out so often. So even though I have sets of metallic paints, I always find that this ends up in my travel bag, and when I am out and about and painting, look how used it is. And there are 2 full sheets of silver and gold on the back, so even if you're just looking to add a little bit of sparkle or even mix it with a color from another palette that you already have, I think this is just a great addition. You can't go wrong with it. And I think this cost is around 20 bucks on Amazon. The other set that's around, I think it's $25 on Amazon, is another Derwent set. This is what the Inktense pan paint that's 12 set would look like, but these are metallic watercolors. I really like these ones as well. I think that they color down really nicely. You've got a nice color selection here, and they're very affordable. Not every brand of metallic watercolors is affordable. I have a Paul Rubens set I really like, but they're more pricey. So for under $30, I think this is the best set that you can get that is half pans, other than the Pretty Excellent set that includes, but it's with other paints. So a standalone half pan set. The other thing that I would say is if you have somebody that maybe you're buying them the Inktense paint pans, or maybe it's an artist that like you're going to buy the Rosa watercolor set, somebody who's going a little bit more into that artist grade section. I would recommend getting a metallic dot card from one of many shops on Etsy, but the one that I always recommend is Yuli. So this is a Yuli dot card, and I have had this Yuli dot card. I'm going to zoom in on it here, maybe. Hello. Nope, it doesn't want to zoom. I'll go out a little bit. Okay, so I've had this Yuli dot card for like 2 years now, and look at how much paint is still on it. These last for a long time because I don't really do like full metallic pieces. I just use this as an accent. So you could get somebody one of these little cards. They run about $6 to $10. If you go to Yuli's site, she's got a why can't I think of her name? Anyway, the Yuli store has a ton of these, ton of them, and they're all different. So you can pick what you want, and again, they don't run a ton of money, so it's a nice little add-on to a gift or something else that you might have included in the set earlier that is just going to be a really, really nice addition for any watercolor artist. Even somebody who is a pro artist would love this. All right, I have 2 recommendations I'm putting in the other category because I really don't know where else to put them, but I think that they're both excellent products that at least need highlighted because I use them both all the time. The first is the Magic Fly 24 set of gouache. These tubes are equivalent to what I would call Artesa's gouache, so a student slash almost artist, but not quite artist grade paint. For somebody that likes gouache or likes watercolor and wants to get into gouache, this set is about it's about $15, maybe a dollar here or there either direction. but it's great paint, and it's got 24 colors, which for gouache is all you need. You can mix anything you want from there, and I just think it is a quality product that is kind of a sleeper on Amazon because everybody's always looking for the Arteza gouache, and I like the Arteza gouache, but it's very hard to come by and often goes out of stock, so I would recommend this one time and time again. The other thing that I recommend to people, and I've recommended it before on this channel, and I will continue to recommend this palette for everybody forever. If you are only going to buy one palette out there, and listen, I have so many palettes. I literally on my desk right now, I have this palette, I have two more, I have Sylvan Clay Works palettes. I love them all, but for my money, the best palette I own is this Caran d'Ache Petite Aquarelle palette. And the reason it's great is because this side is textured. So like you can rub a pencil on here and pick up the paint shavings. So like my watercolor pencils, my Inktense pencils. And then this side is smooth. So you can put paint on here. You can put gouache on here. You can rub a marker out on here. So like you can draw out with one of your watercolor markers and pick it up. So when I'm doing art subscription boxes, this is always next to my desk. And I always use it to try different ways to play with all my creative supplies. I cannot say enough nice things about this palette. The best thing about this palette is that it's $11 on Amazon. Between $11 and $12. So like, it's so inexpensive for what it is. It's such a workhorse, so versatile, and I absolutely love using it. So if I would recommend this time and time again. I have recommended it time and time again. If you're looking for a nice thing for any artist, again, an artist who's been at it for a long time may not have this, but I think it's a really nice value add. Okay, so those are my other supplies, and then I have one more category for you, and then we're going to come back and talk about the $50 gift. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk to you today is about dollar store add-ons. So say you want to give somebody a nice gift, but you wanted to add some extras to it. Go to the Dollar Tree. Here is a bag from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to show you some of the things I bought at my Dollar Tree that could go in and make a watercolor gift feel a lot more elevated. So, first of all, these are so nice when you're working in a sketchbook. They're metallic clips. You can clip a palette to it if it's metal, or you can just clip your page back while you're working on it. They are such a workhorse in my studio, and you can get 4 of them for $1.25 at Dollar Tree. This is not Dollar Tree sponsored, but I'm just showing you what you can get at Dollar Tree because even on Amazon, most of these things would be more expensive, and it was just like adding some nice little things at the end of a gift to make it feel more finished. So this is one of those things. Another thing that you can add, and I was going to talk about this earlier, is a ceramic plate. So a nice ceramic plate that you can use as a paint palette is $1. And this one I thought was a nice shape. Sorry, I'll put it over here. I thought it was a nice shape. I thought it was a nice size. It's got a nice base to sit on your desk well. So if you were going to buy that Rosa set of 24 paints that doesn't come with a nice palette, I would buy somebody this to go with it, and there, voila, they have a palette, and they can go to town. Sorry, it's all wrapped in paper. Here's another nice thing that you can get for $1.25. This would be a nice water cup. You can use this as a water cup. It doesn't look like a mug, so you won't accidentally drink it, or you won't accidentally dunk your paintbrush in your coffee. But this would be another thing that you could add for, you know, $1.25. That would be a really nice value add. Or you could do a palette more like this. This is another thing that I bought that I think would double as a nice palette. If you take a look here, it's got like these little petal shapes, so you could actually put gouache in each one of those and work with it that way. Or you could just use it as a palette and it takes up less space on your desk. It's just another example. This one I think I got in a different section than the kitchen section, but just go to the Dollar Tree and look for these kinds of items. They exist and they're easy to find and they add nicely to the gift. And then 2 other things that I look for whenever I go to Dollar Tree. I love to not waste paper towels when I am painting, so I always try to use towels or cloths. These are microfiber washcloths. You get a 3-pack. White ones are nice because you can see the color that you're getting off of the brush to make sure that you're actually cleaning your brush if that's what you're using it for. But a pack of 3 of these is $1 at the Dollar Tree. So again, great value add for somebody who is looking to elevate a gift. the last thing I'm going to say on here is tape. Either washi tape, like this, or painter's tape. I didn't buy any the last time I was at the Dollar Tree because I have a ton. But both of these, and you can get thinner painter's tape than this, but I know I got this roll at Dollar Tree. These are both great. They just add a little bit of value to your gift and something that you can use to tape off your pages. So I just think that's such a cool idea. And again, don't spend a lot on those things. They are easily workable for that price. So those are some Dollar Tree add-ons. So let's go ahead now and let's create the $50 gift. So you have $50 to spend on a gift. What do you get? Because that's like the kind of question that I feel like should be answered in a video like this. I have exactly $50 budget to spend on somebody. How do I spend it to make the most out of my money? So here's what I would do for an artist. I would spend it the following way. I would start with this pretty excellent paint set that runs around 20 bucks. So here's $20 of your money. Okay. Again, the color choice, everything just makes sense. And there's this, you wouldn't need a palette with it because it comes with a lot of nice mixing space, and it is something that probably a lot of artists don't already have. I would then get these Menta paint brushes. I would get the wash variety because I think it offers the most variety, whether you are a portrait painter or a floral painter or a landscape painter. I think it's going to give you the best variety for your money. So this is $11 more. So we are now at $31 here in this pile. And then to that, I would add a Stillman & Birn Beta Series sketchbook. This one is $18. So roughly, that's $49 and change. So these three things would be your $50 gift. And then if you wanted to do, like maybe you get a sale on one of them because it's, you know, the sale time of year, maybe you get a few bucks back from that. If you wanted to add on some items, the next things I would add to this would be some clips, some cloths, because they're going to want to use those and that's reusable, some tape, and a cup. So for $55, you could do all of that. If you're able to get a sale on a couple of those things, then maybe you can do one or two of those items. But that's how I would kind of round it out. It looks like you spent a lot of money. It looks like this gift is super fancy. You clearly put a lot of thought into it. For somebody who is an artist, they would really appreciate all of these things. So I hope that that gives you kind of a nice idea. Obviously, you can mix and match other things in this list to get to $50 as well. That's just, if I was going to give you a, here's the starter kit, that's the one that I would give you. Again, I will just say one more time, guys, I'm just an art hobbyist out here having a good time who has a lot of art supplies because I like to collect things as well as use them. So I hope that this video was able to give you some ideas. I'm sure I didn't answer everybody's questions. If you have more questions, please leave them below. If you have other items or things that you've seen on Amazon and you're not sure, like, hey, is this a good thing? Have you tried this before? Ask me below. I will gladly answer your questions. I love answering comments. You guys and your wonderful comments are one of the reasons I keep doing this. And if I can't answer it, I will direct you to somebody that can. There are other people out there who do gift guides and do videos like this that certainly know a lot more than me, but I thought I would give you my 2 cents from what I have learned over the years. So again, leave me a comment below. Tell me what your favorite thing was. Tell me if you've used any of these products. Like if you've used some of this stuff and you want to add to the conversation and say, hey, I really like this one thing she mentioned, please do that in the comments below. But that's going to be it for me today. I hope that this inspires you to make some nice gifts, or maybe you saw something in here and you're like, I'm going to get out those art supplies and play with them today. So I hope we inspired you today, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.